Stop scrolling. Because if you've been waking up tired, anxious, stuck, or unlucky, then something is sitting in your body that does not belong there. And in the next 3 mornings, February 5th, 6th, and 7th, you're going to drink something so simple, yet so powerful that it will feel like every curse just packed its bags and left. Now listen, I'm not talking about superstition. I'm talking about intention, identity, and the moment you stop carrying what was never yours. Because curses aren't demons. They're patterns. They're the habits that keep you small. The beliefs that whisper, this is just how life is for you. And every morning, you either reinforce those beliefs or you rewrite them. The idea of a symbolic reset is powerful because human beings don't change just by wanting to. They change when something marks the moment. A reset is not about the liquid itself having magic in it. It's about what the act represents to your mind and nervous system. When you consciously decide, this is the moment where I stop carrying what no longer serves me, your brain starts treating that decision as a turning point. Symbols work because the subconscious mind speaks in images, actions, and rituals, not logic alone. That's why weddings use rings, graduations use ceremonies, and New Year's use countdowns. A symbolic reset tells your system, this is not just another morning, this is a line in the sand. When you drink something with intention, you are creating a physical action that matches an internal decision. That alignment is what gives the reset its force. Your mind doesn't trust words alone. It trusts behavior. So when you wake up and do something different on purpose, you signal to yourself that change is real. You're no longer waiting for life to shift. You're initiating the shift. The body feels that. The brain notices patterns. After one day, your system thinks, something is happening. After 2 days, it thinks, this is becoming who we are. After 3 days, it starts to accept a new identity. The reset is symbolic because it stands in for everything you're choosing to release: fear, resentment, guilt, stagnation, self-doubt. You can't physically pour those things out, but you can attach them to an action that represents letting them go. When you drink with intention, it's like you're flushing out emotional residue. Your posture changes, your breathing changes, your tone of thought changes, and those shifts influence how you speak, move, and decide throughout the day. The real power isn't in the drink. It's in the moment you stop being the person who carries yesterday into today. A symbolic reset gives you permission to step out of the old story and into a new one. It turns, I hope things change, into I have changed. And your nervous system begins to operate from that new truth instead of the old limitations you've been rehearsing for years. The 3-day pattern matters because the human brain doesn't shift from a single emotional experience. It shifts through repetition. One powerful moment can inspire you, but repetition is what convinces your identity. The first day is always about interruption. You're breaking the autopilot. You're doing something different than yesterday, and your nervous system notices the change. Even if you don't fully believe yet, your body registers that something new is happening. That alone creates alertness, presence, and awareness. You're no longer moving unconsciously through your routine. You're paying attention, and attention is the gateway to transformation. The second day is about reinforcement. Now your brain recognizes the pattern. It says, we did this before. That familiarity builds safety. And when the brain feels safe, it becomes open to learning and change. On day 2, you're no longer just experimenting, you're beginning to practice. Your inner dialogue shifts from, should I do this, to, this is what I do in the mornings now. That subtle shift is the beginning of identity change. You're no longer someone trying something new, you're someone becoming someone new. By the third day, your system starts to integrate the behavior into your self-image. This is where momentum forms. You don't need motivation the same way anymore because the action is now connected to who you believe you are. Instead of forcing yourself, you start to feel a natural pull toward consistency. The repetition has taught your mind that this pattern equals safety, clarity, and control, and the brain always moves toward what feels safe and meaningful. 3 days is long enough to create emotional proof. You start noticing how you feel after the action. You feel more grounded, more intentional, more awake. That emotional feedback loop is what locks the behavior in. The pattern becomes familiar, the identity becomes believable, and the change stops feeling temporary and starts feeling like a direction your life is genuinely moving toward. Morning is powerful because it is the first place your mind and body agree on who you are for the day. When you wake up, your nervous system is open and highly suggestible. You haven't yet been flooded with messages, stress, comparisons, or demands. The thoughts you think and the actions you take in those first minutes become the template your brain uses to predict the rest of the day. If you start rushed, distracted, and reactive, your system assumes life is something happening to you. If you start calm, intentional, and present, your system assumes you are the one directing it. Your brain is constantly asking, what kind of day is this going to be? And it answers that question based on the first cues it receives. The tone of your morning sets your emotional baseline. If the first thing you do is grab your phone and absorb other people's priorities, your mind immediately shifts into defense and comparison mode. But if the first thing you do is choose yourself, even in a small way, you send a powerful message. I am not behind today. I am not chasing life. I am leading it. Physiologically, your body is transitioning from sleep into alertness. Cortisol naturally rises in the morning to wake you up. What you do with that energy determines whether it becomes anxiety or clarity. If you attach that energy to intention, breath, and presence, your body learns to associate mornings with control and confidence. Over time, your nervous system stops bracing for the day and starts opening to it. Emotionally, mornings are when you decide whether yesterday comes with you into today. You can rehearse old worries, old disappointments, old fears, or you can interrupt them before they settle in. The first moments are where you choose the story you're about to live in for the next 12 hours. When you claim your morning, you don't just change your schedule. You change your relationship with time, with pressure, and with yourself. And the day begins to respond differently to you because you are showing up differently to it. When people talk about curses, they're usually not talking about something mystical sitting on their shoulders. They're talking about a feeling that life keeps repeating the same pain, the same mistakes, the same disappointments. Those so-called curses are really mental and emotional blocks that have been rehearsed so many times they feel permanent. Fear is one of them. Fear convinces you that trying is dangerous, that hoping is foolish, that change will only lead to more disappointment. It keeps you small by making safety feel more important than growth. Doubt is another block. It's the voice that questions your worth, your ability, and your timing. It tells you you're always behind, not ready, not enough. Over time, doubt becomes automatic. You don't even notice it anymore. It just runs quietly in the background, shaping your decisions before you're aware of them. Then there's shame. Shame isn't about what you did. It's about who you think you are. It attaches identity to past mistakes and says, this is you. When shame is active, you don't just feel bad about something. You feel bad about yourself. Stagnation grows out of all of this. When fear, doubt, and shame combine, movement feels pointless. You stop expecting new outcomes, so you stop taking new actions. Life begins to feel stuck, heavy, repetitive, not because nothing is possible, but because your mind has already decided what's allowed for you. Calling these things curses makes sense because they feel outside your control. They feel like something that just happens to you. But they're really learned patterns of thinking and feeling that your nervous system has practiced for years. Once something is practiced long enough, it feels like fate. In reality, it's familiarity. And what feels like a curse is often just a story your mind has told so many times that it forgot it was ever a story at all. Before I tell you what to drink, tap the like button if you're ready to let something go, and comment reset if you're done carrying what doesn't serve you. Action over wishful thinking is one of the most underestimated principles in personal transformation. Many people spend years hoping, planning, and imagining a better life, yet they remain in the same patterns because hope alone doesn't change the body, the brain, or the circumstances around them. Wishing is passive. It waits for external validation, timing, or permission. Action, on the other hand, is the language the universe understands. Your nervous system, your habits, and your identity respond to movement, to doing something different in the present moment. Every single shift in life begins with the first small act that declares, "I am not waiting for change. I am creating it." When you take action, you interrupt the loop of stagnation. You signal to your subconscious mind that the old rules no longer apply. It's not enough to say you want to feel lighter, freer, or more confident. Saying it feels good temporarily, but the nervous system doesn't recognize words in isolation. It only recognizes behavior. That's why the simplest action, like drinking something intentionally over 3 mornings, carries immense weight. That act communicates your intention to your body before your rational mind even fully processes it. You are embedding the desire for change into your physiology, and your physiology then reinforces the new belief, creating a feedback loop of momentum. Action also builds credibility with yourself. The more you show up, the more your mind believes in your capability. One day of action might feel small, but repeated over 3 mornings, it tells your system, "This is who I am now." Someone who takes responsibility for their life, someone who doesn't wait for miracles, someone who chooses to move. Action transforms identity. Without it, even the most heartfelt wishes remain fantasies. It bridges the gap between what you dream and what you experience. Lastly, action creates alignment. When your intentions, words, and behaviors are congruent, your life starts to respond in ways that feel effortless. Doors open, energy shifts, and resistance diminishes. Action is not about brute force or doing everything perfectly. It's about consistently choosing the steps that point toward your new reality. When you act, even in small ways, you give the universe and yourself something tangible to work with. Transformation always begins with movement, with the courage to stop waiting and start doing. Identity shift is the real game changer in personal transformation because lasting change doesn't come from actions alone. It comes from becoming a different version of yourself. Most people focus on what they do, diets, routines, or affirmations, but these things only stick when the underlying identity shifts. Your habits are expressions of who you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who is tired, unlucky, or stuck, no amount of action will feel natural or sustainable. Change only becomes effortless when your mind accepts that you are no longer the person who carries those limitations. A shift in identity is subtle but powerful. It starts with small intentional acts that reinforce the version of yourself you want to embody. Every time you choose differently than your old patterns, every time you refuse to let fear or doubt dictate your choices, you are effectively rewriting the story you tell yourself. Your nervous system begins to register not just the behavior, but the belief behind it. I am someone who releases what doesn't serve me, or I am someone who moves forward even when it's uncomfortable. Repetition of these aligned actions over time turns intention into instinct. Your body, mind, and emotions begin to operate in harmony with the new identity, and your old limitations lose their grip. Identity shift also changes how the world responds to you. People, opportunities, and circumstances begin to reflect the new version of yourself because you are no longer unconsciously signaling the old patterns. You start to move, speak, and decide differently, and those signals create momentum. What once required effort becomes natural because you are no longer resisting your old self. You are simply being who you've chosen to be. Once the identity changes, behavior follows naturally, and life begins to feel aligned rather than forced. Emotional release is a critical part of transformation because our bodies store more than just physical tension. They store memories, beliefs, and experiences that weigh us down. Every unresolved fear, disappointment, or regret leaves an imprint in the nervous system. If left unacknowledged, these emotions create invisible barriers that influence your decisions, your energy, and your overall sense of self. The act of consciously releasing them is like giving your body permission to stop holding on to what no longer serves you. It's not about ignoring the past, it's about acknowledging it and then choosing to let it go so it doesn't dictate your present or your future. When you intentionally engage in practices that facilitate emotional release, whether through breath, movement, or even simple rituals like drinking something with purpose, you signal to your body that it's safe to let go. Your nervous system begins to shift from a state of tension and hypervigilance to one of openness and flow. This isn't just psychological, it's physiological. Cortisol levels decrease, your posture changes, and the energy that was trapped in anxiety or shame becomes available for action and clarity. Emotional release is, in essence, a recalibration of your internal environment. The ripple effect of releasing stored emotion extends beyond just feeling lighter. It affects how you interact with others, how you perceive challenges, and how you make decisions. By letting go of past burdens, you create space for new experiences, new opportunities, and a more authentic version of yourself to emerge. The act becomes both symbolic and practical. Symbolic because it represents freedom, and practical because it physically changes how your body and mind operate. Emotional release is the bridge between who you were and who you are choosing to become, allowing energy that was trapped in the past to fuel your future instead of holding it hostage. Consistency beats ritual because the real power in transformation comes not from a single dramatic gesture, but from showing up repeatedly over time. Many people get caught in the idea that a ritual itself, a specific drink, a morning routine, or a mantra, is what creates change. The truth is that a ritual is only effective if it is practiced consistently. One morning of intention feels good, maybe even magical, but it doesn't rewrite patterns. The nervous system, habits, and identity respond to repetition. It's the cumulative effect of consistent action that rewires the mind and body, not the symbolic act alone. Consistency builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through, your subconscious mind learns that you are reliable, that your intentions matter, and that your actions define who you are. This repeated alignment between intention and behavior creates momentum. Over days, weeks, and months, small, consistent actions compound, turning into lasting habits and a new identity. The brain begins to recognize patterns of reliability and safety, which allows it to let go of old fears, doubts, and limitations. The ritual becomes less about performing a specific act perfectly and more about reinforcing the principle that you show up for yourself, no matter what. Consistency also removes the need for extraordinary effort. When you show up repeatedly, the behavior starts to feel natural rather than forced. You no longer rely on motivation or inspiration because your system has learned that this is simply what you do. This is why transformation is more about discipline and repetition than about dramatic moments of inspiration. Consistency is what turns intention into results, desire into habit, and actions into a lasting shift in identity. It is the invisible engine behind every meaningful change, quietly shaping your reality one deliberate act at a time. The journey we've been talking about isn't about a magical drink or a single morning of intention. It's about reclaiming control over your body, mind, and energy, and choosing to step out of patterns that no longer serve you. Every deliberate action, every repeated morning, every intentional moment is a signal to your nervous system and your identity that you are not defined by fear, doubt, or past mistakes. You are the person who releases what weighs you down, who shows up consistently, who takes action rather than waiting for change, and who allows yourself to step into a lighter, freer version of life. When you commit to this process, even something as simple as a 3-day intentional ritual becomes a powerful tool. It reminds you that transformation isn't about magic. It's about alignment, repetition, and emotional release. Your old patterns, your so-called curses, start to dissolve because you are no longer feeding them. You are consciously choosing a new identity, reinforcing it through action, and creating space for opportunities, clarity, and freedom to enter your life. So, take these next 3 mornings as more than just mornings. Let them be the line in the sand where you stop carrying what doesn't belong to you, drink with intention, act with purpose, and show up for yourself consistently. Transformation doesn't wait for permission, and your future doesn't wait for circumstances. The moment you decide to step into it, everything changes. Because you are no longer defined by the past, you are defined by the person you are choosing to become.